every page. You better pay attention.
Just come wake me at the end.
Is it going to be simultaneously translated in Spanish?
And Chinese. And you
I'd
can
like to adjourn the Board of Education closed session and reconvene the regular Board of Education meeting at 7:02. Roll call will show Dr. Throsian is excused, as is Ed Gilliland. Terrence, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please?
Absolutely. Repeat after me. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I'd like to report on the closed session held this evening. We had a number of, we heard about some expulsion cases and personnel matters, but no decisions were reached. Order of business, do we have any change in the agenda?
We do not.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the board meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Abstain.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1.
Thank you. We'll move on to board member reports. Mr. Hammond?
Last week, the Board of Education went to Washington, D.C. to speak with our elected officials and members of the Department of Education. The talks, I would like to tell you, that were meaningful. We came back with a bucket full of cash, but that would not be accurate. The conversations were meaningful, and all the conversations were based around the federal government living up to its end of fully funding special education. Currently, in this Monrovia Unified School District, of a $50 million budget, we are running about a $3 million deficit as of fiscal year 16-17 as we subsidize special education with our general fund budget. We found out through the Department of Education that while at no time since 1975 in the creation of the special ed mandates has the federal government ever lived up to its commitment of 40%. The fact that we currently receive about 12% is low when compared to districts throughout the United States. This is not something that's going to be solved because we decided one day to buy a plane ticket and go to Washington, D.C. to try to get them to do what they're supposed to do. You'll be hearing a lot about this in the very near future because ultimately what will happen, it could be ruinous for our district as we continue to deficit spend. It's also a state issue as well as a federal issue, and this is something we're going to be taking to our representatives in Sacramento as well as to the rest of our representatives in Washington, D.C. I would like to thank the members of the of this board, including Mr. Rich, because it was indeed it was all 5 members of this body who put all their concerns forward and to address them. You don't get a lot of time to meet with your elected officials. And so for us to be able to give a clear, concise message about the problem that we are facing here in Monrovia, which is not unique. And in fact, it's probably the same scenario in every school district. But at the end of the day, this is a district that we were elected to represent, and so we made it very specific about our needs. You'll be hearing a lot more about this in the future.
And President Wong, in addition to Mr. Hammond's excellent acknowledgement, you can see on the picture we visited the likes of Judy Chu, Grace Napolitano, Camilla Harris, and the Diane Fonsan representatives, and also we concluded with a gentleman, Matthew, I can't articulate his last name, with the Associate Director of Special Education. As Mr. Hammond said, it was very well received by those who we spoke with.
Thank you. Any other comments? Item 2, public comments for items not on the agenda. Ms. Huff, do we have any speakers?
There are none.
Item number 3, public comments for items on the open session agenda. Do we have any speakers?
There are none.
Hearing none, we will move to item G1, Monrovia Achievement Attitude Action Program. Dr. Jackson?
Dr. Kaiser, who do we have joining us this evening to make this phenomenal presentation?
Tonight, we're going to hear a presentation delivered by Dr. Catherine Real. She's going to be talking to us about MAP, Monrovia Achievement Attitude and Action Program, which is our elementary counseling program.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm here to give just a quick snapshot of the year 2 activities of the elementary counselors at our 5 elementary sites. I will be talking about the data coming off of the year 2 report that revolve primarily around the number of office referrals, social emotional learning curriculum, chronic absenteeism, and then the 5th grade transition program. So here is a chart that shows some changes in office referrals from 15-16 to 16-17. So the majority of the sites showed that there were fewer office referrals. We did have one anomaly, and I have some thoughts about that. The anomaly may be due in great part to change in the actual documentation of the office referrals, so that deserves some additional research. The social emotional learning curriculum is the 2nd step curriculum, and the goal was for the counselors to get into the classrooms, teach the curriculum, teach the teachers how to teach the curriculum, and then coach the teachers on teaching the actual curriculum. So the counselors plan to get out and do 36 lessons in grades 3 through 5, and you'll see that all of them met the 36 lessons, and some of them exceeded the 36 lesson goal. So I was out observing counselors and giving them some teaching tips on checking for understanding and typical teaching strategies. And the 2nd step curriculum was well received, and students really seemed to like it. And the plan is for this next year to make sure that the teachers are taking the reins on delivering that curriculum. Chronic absenteeism. So this is the number of students who had 10 or more absences throughout the year. There was some positive change, and I have to say that for Wild Rose, there was some missing data, so I can provide that in an update at a later time. Some of the activities that the counselors were doing with the chronic absentee students were working with parents, goal setting, getting sometimes outside assistance through other agencies to address the reasons for the chronic absenteeism. And then finally, the 5th grade transition program. So this is a program that is done in the springtime with 5th graders to make sure that they transition well to their new middle school, including middle school counselor visits, and then lessons about how to read their new schedule, the bell schedule, how to organize and be good time managers, study skills, how to calculate a GPA, for example, dealing with peer pressure, and then using a site license for an elementary level career exploration software, which is Pause and Jobland, and then goal setting. So these are some of the big picture items that took place during year 2. Questions? No? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Item H, consent agenda. Routine items of business placed on the consent agenda have been carefully screened by the members of the staff and will be acted upon by the board with one motion. Upon request of any person, an item on the consent agenda may be considered separately at its location on the meeting's agenda. Are there any items to be pulled?
There are not.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments, questions? Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Great, thank you. Moving to item I1, adoption of local control accountability plan. Dr. Kaiser?
Good evening, President Wong and the board. Tonight we have before you the District Local Control Accountability Plan for approval. We have amended the board agenda item to reflect the process more accurately, the process that was followed in the development of our LCAP. The rationale for the board agenda item is that the LCAP is an important component of the local control funding formula. Under LCFF, all LEAs are required to prepare an LCAP, which describes how districts intend to meet the annual goals for all pupils with specific activities to address the state and local priorities. As part of the LCFF requirement, a 3-year local control accountability plan is to be reviewed and revised on an annual basis with input of stakeholders. The LCAP review was conducted as part of the district's strategic planning team. The public hearing to discuss this plan was held June 14th, 2017 at our last board meeting. It was reiterated that board members had concerns in regards to the process for seeking stakeholder input both this year and last year, which is priority 3, parent engagement. There was an inadequate stakeholder survey response and a concern that the data results were unreliable due to the fact that the sample was not a randomized sample. Therefore, while there are many factors and data sources considered in developing the LCAP, the survey data results were not considered. There will be a focus on exploring options for improving the process by which LCAP consultation from all stakeholders is conducted. As a point of information, the LCAP for Monrovia outlines the use of supplemental and concentration funding. These funds are generated by 3 populations of our district: low socioeconomic students, foster and homeless students, and English language learners. These funds are intended to serve these students with increased and improved services, and that is the sole purpose of these supplemental and concentration funds outlined in our LCAP. During the economic downturn, the categorical funding that the district receives from the state was curtailed. Subsequently, the local control funding formula was developed, known as LCFF, and the supplemental and concentration funds were then allocated, replacing school improvement funding and EIA LEP funding. These regulations for developing the plan for utilizing these funds are outlined in the guidelines for LCAP, and these guidelines require consultation of stakeholder groups, parents, students, and staff. It is the goal of the district and the Ed Services Department to study and improve the process utilized for input and solicitation of this consultation from stakeholder groups during the 2017-18 school year. Questions?
Comment. I appreciate the amount of time that goes into, particularly on our staff, to present this. This is a pretty beefy document here. I also appreciate the time and effort that goes in from folks from the community, whose only purpose is to make sure that we are heading in the right direction as a school district, and that the services that are important to us are being provided. I appreciate the staff time that's taken after school hours to come in and give their insights. But most of all, on this particular one, I appreciate Dr. Kaiser and Amy Collier when the concerns were addressed or where the concerns were voiced, that we find here a document that adequately talks to specifically the concerns that were voiced. I appreciate that. Now, I look forward to next year when our LCAP meetings start, that we find solutions to where these concerns were. Because that will be, the proof is in the pudding that not only was it heard, we followed through on it.
Right.
Any other comments?
And I'll echo the same thing. I said the same sentiment that Mr. Hammond did, a few weeks ago, where I thank everyone for their time. And it's hundreds and hundreds of man hours put into this process by a lot of people, and I do appreciate that. And not only by this time next year when we have the LCAP meetings, do we want to make sure that we've refined the processes. Before that, we want to make sure that we've refined the processes. So
we should be in discussion long before that time, not just walk into the LCAP and find out that they've been changed. So let's be part of the process and be proactive from tomorrow forward before we get to that point.
Absolutely.
And one last item on this is, although this is incredibly important to the district, and the results of this really have a lasting impact on all of our students, we can't lose track of the fact that this is still a very new process for us. It seems that each time around, there's some kind of quirky change or some kind of interpretation that we have to make, or some type of a guess as to what we think the meaning is. And so, I echo what the other board members are saying, that it's very important to the board, who is not in the weeds doing this on a day-to-day basis and only looking at the end result, that you're taking our input and implementing it is the best that you can. And it's appreciated. It's
Thank you.
appreciated. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Wong?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item 2, resolution regarding the education protection account for 2017 and 18. Ms. Wu.
Yes. Good evening, President Wong, Board of Education, Dr. Jackson, and staff members. The Education Protection Account was created as a result of the state passed Proposition 30, now which amended last year and approved by vote of California by Proposition 55. Basically, Proposition 55 extended the individual income tax rate for high earners through 2013. The state collected additional income tax deposited in the Education Protection Account. The district projected in 17-18 school year, we will receive $7.3 million from the account. However, that is not additional money the state fund our public school. The state aid will be reduced dollar to dollars. So the total money the state received, the districts received from state is still the same.
Comments or questions? I just want to get a clarification so I make sure I'm understanding this. So the proposition that was put in front of the voters last year, that was to provide us an additional $7 million through additional taxation, we got, but then at the same time, they gave us the $7 million that we voted for. They took $7 million away in other funds. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So even though we voted to tax ourselves to improve education funds, the net result was zero. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Welcome to the state of California.
Any other comments or questions?
Nope.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board President Wong?
Yes,
Motion carries 4-0.
thank you. Item number 3, 2017-18 adopted budget. Ms. Wu?
Yes. June 14 board meeting, the Business Service Department presented board for the 17-18 district adopt budget. And the district prepared that adopt budget according to the governor's May revision. Yesterday, the governor signed the California State 17-18 budget. Some of the assumption has been changed. The district will comply with the Ed Code, which is we will revise our budget, which the board will approve tonight within 45 days, and which means that we will submit on July 26th a revised budget. We will incorporate following items. The revenue, the second, third, fourth bulletin is the revenue as a result of the pass of the state budget, the district will receive additional funding from the one-time discretionary funding, after-school program, and the cover for the mandated block grant. If the board approve the negotiation settlement, the district also will increase the budget for the 1.5% cross-board increase in our revisions.
Any comments or questions?
It'd be more of a comment. We are, that $50 million that I was talking about previously that we have for our general fund, we go through exhaustive budget meetings before we get to this meeting where we approve it. And schools are a little interesting in the fact that we'll approve a budget today, or we're supposed to before fiscal year starts on July the 1st. We need to approve that. But then we'll be back in less than 30 days to have a revision to that budget, because we'll then start seeing what money really looks like that's coming in. Schools and their budgets are a little bit tricky. It's not as simple as what we have at home, that we know how much money we have and how much we spend. We get told how much money we're going to get, and then we have to see how much money we really get out of the money that we're told. So this will be a recurring theme for the next 90 days.
Again, to echo that same sentiment, our discussions, the board's discussions, will continue all the way up until we pass the final budget. We still have a number of study sessions in which we are going to be covering some of our larger expenses and revenue sources, so we can hopefully balance them out a little bit better. So even once we sign off on this, we do have another 45 days in which we can make alterations with no impact as far as the legality of us meeting all of our requirements. So we're still well within the time frame. So if you have specific issues that you want to have addressed, please bring them up, and we're still looking at all items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item 4, resolution to authorize temporary interfund cash borrowing. Ms. Wu?
Yes. The district various funds receive cash promise from the state various agency as well as the federal government at a different pay schedule. However, we have monthly operation costs, such as we have to pay the employee payroll. So in order to prevent a certain account, the cash balance above zero, by board approve this authorization, allow the district borrow the fund internally from our own account, which is we solve our own problems. And the borrowing within the fund, there's no cost, but however, it will help us meet the adequate requirement that at a certain point, at each point of the fiscal year, there's no negative balance, cash balance in our account.
Comments or questions? Again, really quick clarification. Basically, all we're doing is taking money from pocket A and putting it into pocket B, and then once we have our funds, we put the money back.
That's correct.
But by doing this, we don't need to pay interest charges or fees. Do I have a
So moved.
motion?
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item 5, resolution to authorize temporary transfer of funds from the Los Angeles County Treasurer. Ms. Wu?
Yes, this is actually the another option, help the district to avoid the negative cash balance in our funding. And this, by board pass this resolution, this is the option. And this is a routine every year at this board meeting, board will pass this resolution, but historically, district has not used this option. And I'm pretty sure that borrowing from the county treasurer will not be free. So that's the reason why we will do our stewardship, make sure that we don't go to these options.
Comments or questions? Quick clarification, this is what happens when you don't have money in pocket A to put into pocket B. You go to somebody else's pocket. Historically, we have not had to do this. We have on occasion had to do a trans, which was much more of a note or short-term borrowing, but this is a backup. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item 6, agreement with Thomas Kelly Software Associates LP for web-based after-school and childcare management software services. Ms. Wu?
Yes. Board, as a continued effort to reduce our program cost, our villager program, they are looking for board approval to purchase the software for their operation. I will have Mr. Tom McFadden to give the board more detailed information.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for having me. And the proposal I put together was for an online software system to handle some of the administrative duties that we have now in the program that would allow us to be more efficient and less costly over time. The two programs will help us handle a myriad of program components that we have to do that is labor intensive, including registration, the whole billing, collection, and receipting of monies. Our attendance reporting to the state can all be handled through this program, which would free us up to be able to do other things like create programming for the students, have time to lesson plan, and a whole myriad of things that we don't have time to do right now that the program would allow us to do over time. It would be safety would come into play with the ability to scan students in and out of the program during the program. It would save paper and the time it takes to have our site managers receipt all the parents. So receipting and collections and billing become a big issue for us. When we were looking at this throughout the year, it was coming through the lens of two different plans going forward to be able to afford the program. There's a Plan A, which included some staffing considerations, and a Plan B, which included the ability to pay for the program through the rate increase for the ACES program. So fortunately, as Ms. Wu alluded to yesterday, Governor Brown did sign into budget rate for the ACES dollars that we're going to get. So Monrovia was a big supporter of that. We sent the kids up to Sacramento. We had the senator visit. So Governor Brown did sign into budget an ACES rate increase, which we're very excited about. It's not the big bucket. It's a half a bucket, but we're not going to turn down any money. So we'll be able to see some dollars going forward into our budget as the years progress. So.
Comments or questions?
I see that the funding for this is not coming out of a bucket, it's coming from village parent fees. That does not seem that it connects with the budget that was assigned.
Right. Before yesterday, that was going to be the plan going forward, with the Plan A of the staffing model having to change in order to meet our budgets going forward. Now that the ACES rate is being increased, we can move those dollars around so that the program can be paid for out of the ACES dollars instead of the parent fee dollars.
And I appreciate that. It just, when I read this, it's talking about an annual contribution of $10,750. And if for some reason the parent side would dry up, what would we do for that funding? Because it doesn't say that it's going to switch if the budget is approved by the governor. It says that the budget implications are that it's going to be out of a village parent fee account. And that is, unless we change what this looks like in the motion, that is what we would put into motion.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to be clear, it looks like you have ongoing expenses. It's not a one-time expense.
Correct. It's an annual expense.
Okay. So then if we are to approve this, the motion should be to not have it come out of the village parent fees account, yet have it come out of the account that you just mentioned.
The
there in a
ACES
second.
dollars account.
And give me the name of that account?
ACES, that's the grant dollars that we get, so the ACES fund.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other, Charles, I have a question for you. Have you reviewed the software and how it fits within our existing systems?
Yes, I've
Yes, I've already reviewed the software. The software company provided me with some references. Cajon Valley Unified School District, Chino Valley Unified School District, among a few others. It is a hosted service, so they are hosting it on their own servers. All we have to do is provide a network connectivity to their servers, which we already do.
Perfect. Comments or questions? You know, Tom, I'm going to take another opportunity to thank you for all the work you've done, not only for Monrovia, but for all the other schools who got to piggyback off your hard work. I don't think there's any coincidence at all that the additional funding came after Senator Portantino met with you and your group, and you demonstrated very clearly the advantage of this particular program. It was a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Well,
We'll
hold
make,
on.
if we can, Mr. Williams, if we can make a motion with the appropriate changes to reflect the account will be out of the ACES account rather than the parent fees account.
You accept the change?
Accept it.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, authorization to hire district consultant Newcomb and Anderson, or Newcomb Anderson, excuse me, sound like a law firm. Ms. Wu?
Yes, actually, it's not law firm, and it is the energy engineering and consulting firm. The Business Service Department requests the board to approve hire this consulting firm to help us to implement the Proposition 39 project. I have the company's profile on each of board desk so that you can understand. You guys have more information about this company, and also I have the Ms. Agrawal here to answer any question board may have. And the company will help us provide the technical specification for the RP for the implementation stage, and also review the design, oversight the project, and supporting the project closure. I'm pretty sure that Ms. Val will tell you that when we hire the implementation company, they will tell you they will guaranteed the saving. But in reality, when the project finished, the guarantee may not be materialized. So if board have any question, please, I think Mr. Val will be here to answer the questions.
Would you like to give us a quick overview?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
So my name's Agatha Voller. I'm a senior program manager with Newcomb Anderson McCormick, NAM for short. NAM actually authored the Prop 30 guidelines that are in place today and oversees the Prop 39 program for the 72 California community college districts currently, as well as a host of K through 12 school districts as well. So we're very familiar with the guidelines. We have also been in the company's been in the business of serving institutional clients for 30 years. And to Connie's point, the benefit in hiring someone like NAM at an early stage is to help with those technical specifications. So right out the chute, all the performance requirements are set up and enforced. ESCOs commonly they choose equipment that they can make sale from the margins, essentially, whereas we'll be focused entirely on the district's need. We're independent, no affiliation with a manufacturer of any sort, and focus mostly on, or entirely on, energy savings and maximum funding leverage. That's inclusive of utility rebates and any other programs that the district would be eligible for. So if you have any questions at all, please, and our services would be entirely funded by Prop 39. There's a special allocation for our services.
Comments or questions? We might have a question. How long is your contract for? What is the time length?
Well, the program and the projects are essentially expire in 2021. So we would shoot and have a schedule to have all the projects completed by 2020, June 30th, and then all projects and tracking and reporting in place by no later than June 30th, 2021. Those are sort of the conditions of utilizing those funds.
Good. Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you very
thank
much. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Williams?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Hammond?
Yes.
Board President Wong?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item number 8, collective bargaining agreement. Dr. Jackson?
Yes, Board President Wong, I'd like to call for a 5-minute recess.
Perfect. Board will be recessed for 5 minutes.
Go out and play children.
Sure, sure, I saw, I
Huh?
Thank you very much for, we need that small break. We are going to we are going to table item number 8 until the next board meeting. Item number 9, 2017 and 18 dues and memberships. Dr. Jackson.
Number 9. Dues and memberships.
Coming right up, Board President. Well, the Board of Education is requested to approve the 2017-2018 memberships in the following organizations. And as you see, there are a list of those that we normally work with or supported through. Membership in the above organization provides information on legislation and trends, professional contacts, and specific benefits to district programs. The budget implications, the approximate total is $26,000 from the general fund, $485 from special fund accounts, and $870 from adult education as listed in the attachment. And as you see on the attachment, some of these organizations are still being researched as to applicability and need from the district.
So at this point in time, this is the maximum amount, but we may not be utilizing all of them at this point. Is that
Correct.
Perfect. Any other comments or questions?
Yes. Dr. Jackson, for clarity, CSBA, with its total of 11K118, what is that detail?
So Shoshana placed a call to CSBA. We did realize an increase over the past year, and so we are actually researching this and should hopefully have an answer by Friday's update.
Dr. Jackson, with regards to the Superintendent Leadership Association, what is that detail?
Leadership Associates. I would have to defer to Dr. Tarosian on that one, being that that's under her guise.
Dr. Jackson, with regards to the Business Services California Association of School Business Officials, what is that detail?
Connie Wu, would you weigh in on
Yeah,
that one?
that is a membership, is the California School Association of School Business Officers is an organization, and it will provide a training and conference for all the members. And this is actually including 2 membership. One is the institutional membership, and the other one is my personal membership.
Thank you. Dr. Jackson, with regards to the Monrovia High Canyon Oaks Mountain Wash, we're paying membership to be approved?
The WASC accreditation?
Yeah.
As you recall, this is the process by which our schools here in Monrovia Unified pay a membership fee based on the fact that we receive our accreditation. This justifies the culmination and completion of diplomas from both Monrovia High School and Canyon Oaks Mountain Park.
So noted. Lastly, Dr. Jackson, with regards to the Educational Services St. Gabriel Economic Partnership, what's the rationale?
Connie Wu, are you able to, or Sue?
Yes,
Dr.
the
Kaiser?
San Gabriel Economic Partnership provides internships, and it's an organization that we belong to service our high schools and the Canyon Oaks and Monrovia High School.
Received. Thank you.
As a footnote to this will be part of our larger conversation of conferences and stipends and consultants. So we will be able to get a line item on any other items that we want to discuss or get more in depth.
Henceforth, the tone has been set regarding my questions.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Killing me. Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich.
Yes.
Board Member Hammonds.
Yes.
Board Member Williams.
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item 10, consider expulsion case number 1617-14. Do I have a motion?
I move that expulsion case number 1617-14, student number 111118096, be held to an enforcement of an order of expulsion for a period of not more than 1 calendar year. This period commences on the 28th day of June, and ends on the 28th day of June 2018. The expulsion is based on the findings of fact that the student violated the following provisions of Ed Code 48900, paragraph A.2, willfully used force or violence upon the person of another except in self-defense.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item number 11, consider expulsion case number 1617-15. Do I have a motion?
I move not to expel case number 1617-15, student number 111111863 from the schools in the Monrovia Unified School District, and that the student be reinstated to a school within the district subject to the rehabilitation plan.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item number 12, consider expulsion case number 1617-16. Do I have a motion?
I move not to expel case number 1617-16, student number 222200545 from the schools in the Monrovia Unified School District, and that the student be reinstated to a school within the district subject to the rehabilitation plan.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich,
Yes.
Board Member Hammond,
Yes.
Board Member Williams,
Yes.
Board President Wong.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item number 13, pending board issues. Dr. Jackson.
As reflected on the pending board issues, there are none at this point, other than you have the superintendent's performance objectives, et cetera, that's listed on that document that I believe you will be covering when Dr. Tarosian returns.
Does the board have anything they'd like to add or subtract from this list? Hearing none, we'll move on to item J, old business. The next board meeting will be July the 26th at 7 o'clock. And we will move to item K, summer school. And all the summer school is in session. Elementary schools are at Brad Oaks, Monroe, and Plymouth. Middle schools are both open, Clifton and Santa Fe, and there are classes at the high school as well. With that, we will adjourn the regular board meeting at 7:56. 4.